Hi, I'm Amy, thank you for tuning in. This is my best books of 2023 video, and I'm going to add the slight caveat that I'm sure I will have forgotten some books that I've absolutely loved during this year, but hopefully this video will give you a real flavour of the books that I've enjoyed, the genres that I've been leaning towards, and hopefully you'll get some great recommendations out of it. So let's dive straight in. Quite a few of the books on this list have been proved, so they're books that I've read during 2023 but don't come out until next year. This one is published by Firefly, it comes out in March, and it's called Lie or Die. And if you are a fan of the Traitors TV show, I think you will absolutely love this book. I haven't actually watched Traitors yet, but I've seen enough promo to know that this premise seems very similar. A group of teenagers are filming a reality TV show, and they're put into a closed environment, and some of them in the group are killers, one of them is a detective, and the rest are players, and the idea is that people have to avoid being killed and try and figure out who is killing them. And of course things don't go smoothly, and it ends up becoming a murder mystery, and one that I really enjoyed. It was twisty, fast-paced, really well written. I liked the voice and the main character, so definitely one I would recommend you picking up when it comes out. This Delicious Death was such a fun read for me because I really love the concept that humanity had been split by people who've started craving human flesh and those who don't, and scientists have created a synthetic flesh that satisfies these people and makes sure that they don't start turning on their friends and neighbours. But a group of girls who are afflicted with this condition go to a music festival, and one of them ends up going feral and accidentally killing one of the band members in the music festival. So her friends have to figure out what's going on, why that's happened to her, and is it going to happen to anyone else. And I just thought this was really fun, a really fresh premise, well written. I know that Kayla Cottingham also wrote My Dearest Darkest, and I'm going to try and check that out in 2024 because I really enjoyed this one. So next up we have 12 Bones, the sequel to 16 Souls. I really loved the first book, and I have to say I enjoyed this one just as much, if not more. The main characters, Charlie and Sam, have this gorgeous relationship, and I enjoyed seeing their relationship grow and seeing the challenges that arise between them. I also enjoyed kind of revisiting members of the group and meeting some new characters, and I thought this book did what a sequel does, what a good sequel does really well, because it upped the ante but also gave me more of what I wanted. So this was a really good one. Next up we have Let's Play Murder, which is a YA thriller about a group of teens who play a virtual reality game and things very quickly become deadly. I picked this one because I love the premise. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed trying to figure out who was responsible because it was another murder mystery, and I thought that the tech was used in a really interesting way in this book, and I really liked the writing, and it's quite a quick fast-paced read, so if you're looking for something like that, I'd recommend this one. Next up we have My Roommate is a Vampire. When I picked this up I thought it was YA, so I got a little bit confused initially when I realised that the characters were older, that they were dealing with situations of people in their 20s. I just thought this book was really fun. I don't know whether this is the author's debut, but I need to check it out because I really enjoyed her writing. The premise of a girl who moves in with this mysterious roommate who does indeed end up being a vampire, like it says in the title. I just thought it was really great, really fun. I liked the fact that there were little bits of mixed media in this book. I enjoyed seeing the relationship develop between the main characters. It did go in the way of adult romance novels, so if you enjoy that, I definitely pick this one up. Another YA thriller, this one, The Midnight Game by Cynthia Murphy, and I think that this might be my favourite of Cynthia's books yet. I really enjoyed the fact that she used the Midnight Man kind of creepypasta internet myth. A group of teenagers get together to play the Midnight Man's game in a creepy school, and I just absolutely loved the atmosphere of this book. I love the setting. It uses mixed media, which was really fun, and I really enjoyed trying to figure out who was going to be next and who was going to be responsible. Next, probably one of my favourite books of the year was The Gathering by CJ Tudor. It doesn't come out until April next year, but I had to mention it because I had such a good time reading this book. I love CJ Tudor's books, but I think this might be my favourite of hers yet, mostly because it deals with vampires, and anybody who knows even a little about me will know that I love vampire books. But it just does it in a really fresh, interesting way. The main character is a detective who is part of sort of a police force specialising in vampires, or she herself specialises anyway. And she goes to investigate a crime that may or may not have been perpetrated by a vampire. And I love the world of this book. I loved the remote Alaskan setting. It was very creepy, atmospheric, and it was so great trying to figure out who to trust in this. CJ Tudor wrote the characters really well. So I just didn't know who was on the side of the main character and who was trying to make things difficult for her. I just thought it was great. Next we have another really unique book. This one I would describe as a post-apocalyptic rom-com road trip book. So if any of those things float your boat, definitely pick this one up. It's a main character who's part human, part machine, and he thinks that he is one of the last people who even remotely resemble humans left, until he meets a human girl when she crash lands into his neighbourhood. And it says she's his last hope, and apparently he says if they really are all that's left alive. It was very atmospheric, creepy in places, and I just loved how this one felt really different, and I didn't know it was going to go, and I love that. I now seek that in books. I think things that just feel like a different and unique take on something. Next up, Another Proof. This one comes out in May. All the Hidden Monsters, and I love the tagline, "This cozy crime is dead, so is Lucy Haig." It is about a vampire and a warlock who end up investigating a murder together, and a series of murders of werewolves. I really liked this book because it felt to me like it had the coziness of Legends and Lattes and different members of the supernatural community in there, but also it had this really gritty crime story at its heart. So I just thought it was really different from what I'd read before. Again, like the other books I've enjoyed this year, anything that's had a fresh angle seems to have been something I've really craved. This is a debut novel and the writing was so good, the characters are great. I just love this. I can't wait to see what Amy Jordan writes next. I hope it's more in this world. Next we have A Game of Life or Death by Trina Campbell. This one is another one about tech and AI. This seems to be sort of a theme of my reading this year. I'm just checking the back because it is a while since I read this one. So basically Asha finds her sister's body, and she ends up turning to her hacker friends for help, which leads her to the game studio where her sister worked, and she starts to wonder whether they had something to do with her sister's death. This book dealt with grief really beautifully. It's not generally a subject that I choose to read about a lot in books, but this book just did it really well, where I didn't feel pulled into it so much, because I think sometimes that's an emotion that I take on and then it's all I can see when I'm reading the book. But this was a really nice balance of emotions, really great characters, a kind of a mystery and a thrilling plot that really pulled you along. And I know that there's more books in this world, so I think that would be great to read the next ones. Another YA thriller with a tech angle. This one about a girl who ends up playing a virtual reality game. Again, one I read more than a year ago in this case, because I think I actually read it towards the end of the previous year, but I enjoyed it so much I wanted to mention it. So it says, Lola's been selected to play a new virtual reality game, Better Than Life. In her game, she's loved, is beautiful, can do whatever she wants, but she quickly breaks the one rule, not to recreate people or places from real life. She recreates her house and a boy she fancies. Soon she's skipping school to play. But Lola has secrets, dark ones that begin to surface inside her game, and the more she tries to fix her problems, the more she overlooks a much bigger threat. I'm glad I reread that because it sparked off all the things that I loved about this book. I really liked how this is a journey for an unreliable narrator which she admits to on the first line that she's an unreliable narrator, to kind of figure herself out as much as the reader figuring her out. And I love the fact that this story just had so many layers that you just kept peeling off, and it was really clever and really well executed. Next, a book that I really enjoyed that had a bit of a different pace for me, and this one is called Murder on a School Night by Kate Weston. I really like the "Murder can really cramp your style" is the tagline. So Kate is known for her funny feminist books, but this one is funny, feminist and murderous too. So it's just adding things I love to the mix. I thought that Kate pulled off all elements of this book really well. I think it's sometimes hard to have a mixture of genres together, and I just love the murder mystery element, the humour, the relationships between the main characters. It's very much a book about friendship, and I really enjoyed that. Next up, probably the book that messed with my mind the most this year goes to, if that was an award, this one would be the winner, is Looking Glass Sound. Is my first Catcher in Award book, although I think I own most of her others. I love the fact that this reads like literary horror to me. It is very beautifully written and kind of centred in the main character's internal world. It's very fast-paced and gory at times and quieter at others, and I just loved it. I don't really know what to say about it because the things I really loved will be a massive plot spoiler, but I just suffice to say that the plot really takes you on a journey. It is so inventive and twisty and interesting. Highly recommend if you're looking for horror with a literary feel. This is great. Another highlight of it for me was the characters. the setting. I just thought it was really well executed in every way. Another really fun book, Patricia Wants to Cuddle, is about a bachelor type island where the 3 girls, or it might be 4 girls, 4 contestants, have all won their place on this remote island to try and win the man of their dreams, who isn't as much of a catch as he sounds like on paper, but that's up to them to decide, isn't it? And they soon realise that they're not alone on the island. I love the remote island setting. I loved the humour. I thought the horror was great, and that paired with the humour just made it even better. I thought this one was fantastic. I'll definitely be picking up more by this author. Another first for me was Rachel Harrison. She's an author I've been meaning to read for absolutely ages, and I adored this. It is 4 dark stories, all with kind of a feminist slant, all horror, and I'd say the different aspects of women's experiences. So it's things like one of the characters goes to a bachelorette party, one of them doesn't know how to make decisions and chooses a creative way to get around that. And I just loved the fact that the voice of these stories was so strong. Each of them felt unique and fun and punchy. I thought it worked really well as kind of a short anthology. I just thought it was brilliant. Highly recommended. Love the bright cover too. Loved everything about this book. Next up, a book that I was involved with, slight caveat, but I'm really proud of this book, so I wanted to mention it. It came out in September. It was published by Scholastic, and between me and Mia Kushner, who co-curated this book, we managed to pack in a list of absolutely incredible authors. Pause if you want to see all of their names. It's a mixture of different types of horror. We've got folklore, we've got kind of things in the murder mystery feel. My story is set in the 80s. We've got stories that feel kind of timeless and historical. I just think it's a really great mix of short stories, so if you haven't picked it up yet, this is your reminder to do so, because I think it's great, although I may be slightly biased. And the final book is by one of the contributors of the anthology, Catherine Foxfield. Catherine is an insta-buy author for me, and I thought that her new book was great. This one is about an escape room where a bunch of teenagers are playing in this remote location. Of course, they need to try and escape. And it turns out that somebody inside the escape room can't be trusted, and is trying to get away with murder, hence the title. It's really fast paced, it's really fun. I loved trying to guess, as I do in all of Catherine's books, I love trying to guess who is responsible. I just think that Catherine is one of those authors that if you haven't picked up already, horror thriller fan, you absolutely need to, because she is brilliant. So that was my list of favourite books from 2023. Were there any books that you also enjoyed this year? Are there any of them that intrigued you? Any that you think I would like based on the list that I've given? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. As always, likes and subscribes are really appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video.